on, everybody? Welcome into another Tour Life. Today is Tuesday, June 18th. We got a lot to discuss. Some things went down, some surprising things. Biggest surprising story, KJ, Kevin Jones, KJ USA, man of many names, no longer will be throwing Prodigy this season. The surprising departure in the middle of the season leaves us speculating, if you will, what the future of Kevin Jones will look like. Then we also have a story coming out from the PDGA. Surprise, surprise, they dropped the ball once again at one of their keynote tournaments. We'll have Jay Redding come on in a little bit to discuss what went down there. And then we have Ohn Scoggins. She's probably one of the toughest people to get a hold of and to get on the show. I've been asking her probably for the last month or so. You let me know when you want to come on. And I'm excited to tell you guys, Ohn Scoggins will be joining the show for the first time today. We've got Edwin Stats, Wild Story of the Week, and our listener questions to finish us off. But before we jump into today's episode, let's shout out to our sponsor, Mudwater. Silas, go ahead.
Everyone needs to have energy in their day-to-day life, and if you've been using coffee to get that little boost, it can leave you sometimes jittery. You can get that brain fog. It is not always the perfect solution. That's why I'm going to talk to you about today's sponsor, Mudwater. You can use Mudwater to replace that daily cup of coffee. You can get rid of those jitters, get rid of that brain fog, and be alert all day long. Nothing is worse than getting that afternoon crash after drinking caffeine in the morning. That's where Mudwater comes in and helps you out. The Mudwater blend has 4 functional mushrooms and only a fraction of the caffeine in a cup of coffee, so you get natural ingredients and a great source of energy. Plus, it's super easy to make. You just take a tablespoon here, drop it into some hot water, and stir it right on in. Plus, if you want to speed up the process, Mudwater also has a frother you can check out as well. Each ingredient in Mudwater was added for a purpose. You have cacao and chai for a hint of caffeine and that hot chocolate-like flavor. Lion's mane for focus and combating that brain fog. Cordyceps to promote natural energy, and both chaga and reishi to support a healthy immune system. And one of the best parts I haven't even mentioned yet is it tastes great. In my opinion, it kind of just tastes like a chai tea latte. It's a warm, delicious drink. You can add some honey in to sweeten it. Personally, I don't think it needs it, but sometimes I like to add a little honey to give it a little bit of a sweetener. Plus, Mudwater has a coconut creamer you can add as well. And last but not least, this product is organic, gluten-free, vegan, non-GMO, Whole30 approved, and kosher. Right now, Mudwater is hooking up this channel with a special offer. If you go to mudwater.com/foundation, you can get a free frother plus 15% off. That's mudwtr.com/foundation for that free frother and 15% off. This offer is exclusive at mudwater.com/foundation. Let's get into the video.
Mudwater. All right, Yuli, I know we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. I hear the weather is not great up there either. So how's it going up there, brother?
It's good. We have tornado warning, so who knows if we'll keep power or whatever. I had to switch to my hotspot because the Wi-Fi here is trash, but hopefully my phone stays on long enough.
I was saying there was there was people like getting stuck out there. There's some serious issues going on. Tournament, does the course look like it's going to be okay to play this week?
The course looked great. I mean, I went and played there this morning. It was fine, but we're supposed to get a lot of rain in the next couple of days, so I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. I'm worried about like all the RVs and stuff that are parked out there.
Yeah,
like they might be just living there.
I saw a picture that was posted somewhere that literally looked, it had to have been a foot deep, that this, RV truck, whatever, was basically putting into the earth, going through. That looks how soft the earth is out there. So hopefully everyone can get in and out. If you're coming up and watching the preserve this week, hopefully it's an enjoyable experience for everyone. It does look like, Mike's saying that the forecast shows an inch of rain on Friday. So it might be a sloppy one, which could be fun. Could be a little slop fest out there. We haven't seen one of those in a while.
It could be. The good part is that the course looks great. Like I'm excited for coverage. Like the grass isn't burnt. It's like beautiful green and lush. And so I think on coverage, it'll look really good this year.
That's awesome. Happy Father's Day. Late. I know, it was this past weekend, but I hope all you fathers, future fathers, Yuli, are having had a good week this past week. I know it's a big week for a lot of families out there, so I hope you guys all had a big Father's Day. And Yuli, we got to talk about the U.S. Open real quick. I know disc golf podcast, I get it, but guys, we gotta talk about it real fast. How much coverage did you end up getting to watch from the U.S. Open this past week?
Pretty much all of it. I mean, I played like a tournament on Sunday, so I only got to watch like the final 10 holes or something, but that was enough. That was like the best part.
It was to me, and that's the thing that's crazy too, is we rarely even get to see that in golf. Like a lot of tournaments, guys are still shooting 6, 7, 8 under every round in golf at a lot of these events. And we rarely ever get to see them push to the limit like we got to see at that tournament. And, I watch a podcast called No Laying Up. I think they do a great job. And they made a really good point. Those putts at the end, I think a lot of that has to do with the culmination of just how much stress is added throughout the entire week out there. And that is something that I would love course designers, TDs, Disc Golf Pro Tour, PDGA. I would love them to look at that and see the kind of drama and outcomes you get when you push people to that like breaking point. And that is what we got at the US Open. And I don't think you're going to get that at a course where half the holes we step up to the tee pad and we're not worried at all. We're not nervous at all. It's not a scary shot. It's just routine. Out there, every hole, there was a double bogey waiting for you as soon as you let your guard down. And yeah, that back nine was electric. Just seeing people try to figure out how the heck do I get to the finish line.
Yeah, I was at the edge of my seat. Shout out to my boy Brodie. I sent him $200 to put in bets. I put 100 on Fleetwood. I put 50 on Scheffler, and then I said, pick whoever you want. And he picked Bryson.
Oh, wow.
And so I was sitting there, just like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, what's going on? And then Rory goes on that crazy birdie streak. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm dead. Like this, it's not possible. Yeah. But then he came back to the field. That little knee knocker that he missed. Holy moly.
It was a tough putt, downhill, left to right, tough putt. But yeah, I mean, that was really fun to watch. I will say, disc golf, we have a lot, we're here on the podcast trying to, I feel like our podcast is a lot more for like the diehards. Like, I don't know if we have a lot of casuals jumping into the podcast, but I think the clips, that's where disc golf clips, highlights, those type of things can separate and go out to more casuals. I was listening to another podcast and they were basically listing off all the national championships from like in college of like obscure national championships, stuff that you've never heard of, like soil testing and like weird stuff like that, of where it's like, what, they have a national championship for everything. A couple of them I heard of, one being disc golf. Shout out to Liberty Women who won. And I believe Charlotte won the men's. I believe it was. So they mentioned those two. They said disc golf. And then like they listed off a couple other obscure ones. And then the next one that came up was Ultimate Frisbee. It wasn't called Ultimate Frisbee. It was called like Frisbee Disc or something along those lines. And they're like, wait, I thought that's the same thing as disc golf. So we still have a lot of marketing to do in the sports world when you have people not knowing the difference between Ultimate Frisbee and disc golf. So we're not there yet, but that's a good thing. To me, like, I think it's a good thing that not everyone has gotten their taste of what disc golf is, because that means you have a potential of bringing more people in. If everyone knew what disc golf was and it wasn't growing and it's just stagnant, we would be in trouble. Because now we have to try to change people's minds of like, oh, you thought disc golf was lame. No, it's really cool. We still have a lot of people out there that have no idea what disc golf is. So there's still a lot of room to grow.
Totally.
So that's pretty much all I had for my week. Did you have anything else going on this past week?
No, not really. I played 2 flex start C tiers, and then a full round of disc golf, and I caught heat exhaustion for the first time in my life.
Oh, it's not
I was
fun.
down. I was down for two days, dude. I had like the body aches, like I had the flu. I've never had that before in my life. No symptoms, just body aches.
So
Dead.
I had a heat stroke in 2009. It was at regionals we were either in North Carolina. I think we were in North Carolina. And I was, we were playing Ultimate Frisbee regionals. We were the number one team in the nation at that point. So we were the favorite to go on and win. And I remember there were points where I would be running and then all of a sudden my eyesight just would go black. And then a second later it would come back. And you can imagine playing Ultimate Frisbee.
The Frisbee's right there. Like,
with Frisbees flying around or with you trying to throw it to someone, all of a sudden your vision just goes away. And it was really tough. It was really, really tough. Heat stroke, heat exhaustion, any of those things are no fun. Nothing to mess around with by any means. They can actually be very, very dangerous. So we'll get into that a little bit too with Jay Redding coming on. He's gonna kind of go into a little bit more of that. So, but before we jump into the next story here, want to give a shout out to another sponsor of the podcast, Discbox. Most disc golfers have a stash of extra discs. For some, it's dozens. For some, it's hundreds. And for many, it takes the form of unruly piles and stacks that don't fit properly in any container and waste a lot of space. But now there's a storage solution called Discbox. Discbox is the only low-cost golf disc storage product on the market. Discbox is a simple disc storage bin that holds up to 30 discs, requires no tape or glue, and is made from recycled material in the USA. Go to discboxdg.com and you will find quantity discounts, wholesale options, multiple colors, and most importantly, no order minimum, so you can order just a single box if you want. Discbox also makes a great player's pack item. Visit discboxdg.com today and get your collection organized. Use code FOUNDATION for 15% off your order. Shout out to our sponsor, Discbox, for this podcast. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, first big story of the pod, Yuli. We got to talk about it. I didn't see it coming. I was surprised, I think, as everyone else, when I saw Kevin Jones's post on Instagram where he was basically saying, "Sayonara, Prodigy, I'm out." What?
kind of out of nowhere, right?
Yeah. First, what was your initial reaction, I guess, when you saw that?
Ooh, I honestly kind of wasn't surprised that much.
Really?
I really wasn't. No. I felt like, I don't know. I felt like they've been kind of like stagnant with their social media with him and pushing of his products and stuff. And I don't know, just from the naked eye of me consuming like content from Prodigy, I felt like once it happened, I kind of connected the dots and was like, all right, like maybe this relationship wasn't going very well.
Yeah, you didn't suspect it was going to happen, but once it happened, you weren't shocked.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. So the first one, obviously, I reached out to Kevin and invited him on the podcast to see if he this is the big story of the week. If he wanted to discuss anything, he politely declined, saying at this moment in time, he isn't able to really talk about anything. So I'm assuming some sort of announcement. He's kind of alluded to that multiple times, like there's something coming. So I guess once he makes that announcement, then maybe he can come on the podcast and maybe give some intel on what exactly went down. I'm not entirely sure. I also reached out to Will Schustrick, who obviously is a big person over at Prodigy. First, congratulations to him and his wife. They just brought in a new baby today.
Yeah.
So congratulations. I didn't know that was happening. So I got a text back being like, "Hey, give me a second." It was like a picture of their newborn. I was like, "Oh my gosh. Take your time." No. There's no rush at all. Please take your time. But he basically responded back saying Kevin is going somewhere else to another team. And it was a good opportunity for him. and it made sense for both parties. So that's what he said. And then there was some speculation in his Instagram post where he was saying, hey, the one saying goodbye to Prodigy, someone said a mid-season checkout, uh-oh. And he said, wait, you think I'd just give up? Announcement coming soon. So some speculation was, oh, he's out of disc golf. He's going to start, touring and being a DJ full-time and doing all that. He kind of squashed that himself by saying, no. Like, I'm still going to be playing disc golf. Now, a couple kind of like red flags, if you will. The first one being his contract wasn't up until the end of next year. If his contract would have ended the end of this year, I would have been like, okay, that makes sense. Like they just, maybe they were starting to talk about renegotiations and they weren't just, one wanted one thing and one wanted the other, and it didn't really make sense. So they're just like, hey, let's just peace out now. That still wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I think you still like 99.9% of the time finish out your contract. But the fact that they ended it, and I don't know, it might have actually been since 2026. So it might even be more. I can't remember if it was through next year or another year, but regardless, it's more than just this season. So to me, Yuli, that's the first kind of like, what is going on? Like, why would, and I guess in your position, why would someone leave Discraft before their contract was up?
Well, it'd be pure speculation, obviously, but
of course,
I feel
we are
like,
the speculation podcast.
I feel like in order for something like that to happen, one of the or the other would be unhappy with what's going on. And typically, when you sign a long-term contract like that, the player's the one that's happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're getting whatever sum of money, and you're happy with it. And then the company, I feel like in this case, would probably be like, hey, we're not happy with what's going down, and we need to renegotiate, moving forward type thing.
Yeah.
That's what I would think. And it could be opposite. It could be completely opposite, but judging by, like I said, social media posts, even his play as of late, I don't think it would be coming from his end. That just would be my honest opinion.
Yeah, you're saying you're saying it wasn't his idea to leave Prodigy.
That's what I would guess. Yeah, that's what I would guess. Honestly, because I know his contract was really good, like really good. Yeah,
and the thing too that I think is we have to look on like Prodigy's past. Oh, go ahead.
And that's what I was gonna say next is, Prodigy hasn't shied away from doing this in the past too, like being like, hey, you're not doing what we want, we're out, type thing. But like I said, pure speculation.
And I would say too, what I've seen players do this all the time, of where players just like, oh, you don't want to give me what I want, I'm leaving early. We've seen it before with Ricky leaving Innova. We've seen it in the past with Paige Pierce leaving. We've seen it in the past with other pros too, just up and leaving their contract and basically putting the ball in the manufacturer's court to be like, hey, you want to be the bad person and come after me? And Prodigy was the first person to stand up and be like, no, we're not letting you do this, Gannon. They were, as far as I'm concerned, they were the first company not behind closed doors, because we don't know what has happened behind closed doors, but they were the first company to publicly come out and say like, no, this isn't happening.
Well, and you got to think another thing that could have happened is a bigger manufacturer, let's say, or maybe an outside company came in and talked to him and gave him a better deal. And he was like, hey, I want out, type thing. You know what I mean? I can't be sponsored by this company. I'm getting more money from this person or these people or this company or whatever. And then that that makes your mind up pretty quick to where you're like, well, I'm losing money right now just being with this company. I need to bounce.
Yeah, my guess is the contract was somewhat set up in a way of where, hey, we're going to give you this amount of money. And then after that, if we hit these sales or this performance, whatever, we'll continue it for the rest of the contract. Similar to how some of these other contracts, where we hear guaranteed money and then the money that they could potentially get. I think that's maybe what this was set up as. And, maybe he wasn't happy with what that was going to look like moving forward. There definitely was some sort of either breach of contract on someone's side. And I appreciate both of them, responding to me and giving me the information that they gave. But we can all agree, like, if things were going well, Kevin would still be sponsored by Prodigy.
Yeah.
So clearly,
well, this contract also
happened.
came at the point where disc golf was kind of booming with all those big contracts going around from the COVID days.
Yep.
And so contracts are big. People were getting paid a lot of money. Things slowed down. And then all of a sudden, there's not a lot of money. And if you're paying a ton of money to somebody, maybe Prodigy just can't afford it. That could be another thing. Like, hey, we can't pay you anymore of what we owe you. Yeah. Sorry, but it's just not possible. And then that's tough for a player too, because then you have to find a bunch of lawyers to get that money, and that costs money, and it might have been just a complete nightmare. But all speculation.
See. We'll see if we get more information going forward. I will say this does make it a little bit interesting. We've got Isaac Robinson coming up with his contract ending with Prodigy. I believe he signed a 1-year deal.
Cap space.
There could be some of that. Ezra Robinson too. I mean, there could be some moves happening that Prodigy's looking at, and maybe they saw a way of, hey, we can clear out this big contract that we have with Kevin and shift that towards one of these other guys.
Well, Kevin had just won the Pro Tour championships, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, let's be real. Like, he's not the only one that his tournament finishes have changed from when his contract was, right? Like, we would be dishonest if we said he's the only one. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it all pans out.
It was nice. It was really nice to see this. Both parties having nice things to say about the other party. That was kind of nice.
Yeah, it's like a little refreshing, right? We don't get that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice. So you guys let us know where do you think he'll end up going? If I had to guess, I don't think he's going to go with a manufacturer. I think it's going to be more of a retail situation. That would be my guess. What do you think, Yuli, if you had a guess?
Well, I know it's not Discraft, so
okay. Well, there.
We'll wax that one off.
Insider information there.
MVP, I don't know how they could have enough cap space. Lone Star, it seems like they were cutting a lot of ties and
they were trying to remove people.
Latitude and those guys, same kind of thing. It seemed like they were trying to get rid of some people. So that leaves like one big manufacturer.
There's not a lot of manufacturers out there right now that are like looking to try to scoop people up.
There's one with a lot of money that doesn't have a lot of players. I'll tell you that.
That would be an interesting one. That'd be an interesting one for sure. So we should see what happens. And like always, like hopefully Kevin can come on at some point. It was actually, I posted on Twitter asking like, hey, who would you guys like to see on Tour Life in upcoming episodes? And his name, before this even got announced, his name popped up a couple times, right? Because I think he would be an interesting interview too, because he is someone that the question is, hey, has the sport kind of passed you?
Yeah.
Right? Because he was a top 10 guy.
I think this could be the best thing for him.
Just honestly. Complete brand new start.
Yeah, get out there and start grinding it out, That puts a chip on your shoulder to where you have to go work and prove yourself.
The first question I would want to ask him is, has the courses increased in difficulty? Because I think they have. They definitely have. Courses are getting harder and harder. Has that caused a problem in your finishing based off of your skill set? Because we all know Kevin loves that big hyzer flip up game. The harder the courses have gotten, does that his game not translate as much as it used to in the past? It'd be interesting to see.
He's a fun watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
when he's playing well, he's a fun watch.
I was gonna say he is one of those. We don't have that many guys on tour that really show the emotion. That really, we talked about with Holland Hanley last week, of where she really was getting into it and firing up the crowd. Yeah. We didn't have too many people. We don't have that many people on tour like that. We have a lot of stoic, like monuments, basically out there, and. He was one of the people that would sprint down a fairway or do a backflip, or he was different. He was electric and it brought a lot of energy. Yeah, he still is. Yeah. So, I would love for him to come on the podcast to kind of, discuss that a little bit more. But all right. So before we bring Jay on, we have Jay here waiting for us. Before we bring him on, I do want to just kind of explain what's going on. So I originally first reached out to Des Redding because I saw, this post got shared to me that Des posted on Instagram, and I'm just going to read through it just so everyone we all have the same context of what's going on here. So it starts like this. My world championship has come to an abrupt end. Today, despite being personally hydrated and feeling ready, the lack of water on the course combined with 90 plus heat and some hot flashes did me in and almost 3 others that I know of. It is a wonder why there is a recommended PDGA water policy when the PDGA doesn't follow its own recommendations. Our course had a water jug on hole 1 and 1 other jug placed at the shared junction of 8 and 11. It was simply not enough. I was cooked, lost my mind, uncontrollable shaking, no idea how to operate my phone, seeing double basket. I left the course for self-preservation. Tournament staff walked me back to my rig where I iced myself down. Jay furiously drove to me and we went to urgent care per the PDGA. Luckily, 2 hot geese were there to keep me company. My vital signs came back good. All my icing and knowledge kept the worst at bay. Thanks to my car mates, especially Valerie and everyone for checking in. I appreciate the love and concern. She continues on with a photo, which is, I believe, the PDGA policy. I didn't know this existed, Yuli. I mean, it's like 7 or 8 bullet points. There's a graph at the bottom that shows like outside temperature, how much water per player. I mean, it's a very detailed of like what you need to be doing with water.
Making me thirsty.
And yeah, I know. And apparently at one of their bigger events, one of their flagship events, their world championships, right? They didn't have enough water on the course. So we bring in Jay Redding. You might know him better as Yeti, joining the show for the first time. How's it going? Appreciate you jumping on with us tonight.
Absolutely. Howdy, guys. How y'all doing?
We're doing good. All right, so I kind of just explained Dez's post on Instagram, kind of gave a little bit of a background of what's going on. Is there anything else that you want to fill in that maybe I didn't, that wasn't in her post?
No, Des is doing really good, actually. I was glad that you shared your story, Brodie, with having heat stroke before because, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, they're related, but they're different. Heat stroke is definitely the extreme side of it. I mean, just the word stroke means your brain is having an issue with what's going on physically. And Des has had a heat stroke in the past. And unfortunately, it's tied to a PDGA event that is now on one of our elite tours. And they sent the FPO to a course out in the country. And that year, there was actually 0 water available on the course. So, one thing led to another. I think in that case, because Des has always been a hydrator. I think at that point in our career, she actually flushed out her system with just water. and that can be a bad thing too. So if we're going to start out with a tip for everybody, hydration is, of course, the amount of water that your body is holding on to, but you also need electrolytes or salt that also helps you retain that water. Otherwise, you literally, if you think about your body as a radiator, you are just flushing out the radiator. And the radiator's entire existence in a car is to keep that car running cool for all those hot engine parts. So she has had that. And as you know, Brodie, and I'm sure you are now too, once you have that, you actually are very susceptible to the right combination in the right situation. And with Des, I can give you a rundown. We were so prepared for this bizarrely weather in Kansas at this point in the summer, which was 90 degrees with 100 plus heat index, 85% humidity, so just soupy thick. Des having some hot flashes as well I'm sure other age protected folks' things, but they all kind of comboed in. Pre-Worlds, we bought 12 actual pull the top off drink Pedialytes, a box of powdered Pedialytes, 2 boxes of the IV, the new kind of IV electrolyte deal. We even had Pedialyte popsicles. So I'm pretty sure the hydration level was pretty solid. However, what that means is that you're going into battle with what you stored in your body the night before. And then it's a matter of continuation of drinking water while you're performing athletics to keep everything going. And so if we jump in right there, you saw the policy right there. And I was on the competition committee, guys, from 2005 to 2015. Just to let your viewers know the difference, there's a rules committee and there's a competition committee. The rules committee actually literally does rules, everything that is enforceable, all of those rules. The competition might not be surrounded exactly in rules. I always say all rules have to do with competition, but competition items don't necessarily have to do with the rules. Yep. We helped the PDGA staff is actually who came up with the finalized version of this PDGA water policy. Now you can read in there, and they use a lot of words like recommended. However, I guess my first big, thing would be, how is any other tournament, C tier, B tier, A tier, DGPT, supposed to follow even a recommended policy if the people that created aren't following it themselves? And so in this situation, on this course, there was 1 jug of 5 gallons on hole 1, and there was 1 jug of 5 gallons at a little bit of a cross section between 8 and 10. So, hole 1 water, everybody, if you're the guy that's like pounding that right before competition, you're really glad it's there. But most of us competing know we need to show up on hole 1, loaded up and ready to go. So that one's almost a moot bucket.
Doesn't make sense to have too much.
So yeah, man, that's just that part of it. But and I'll go into all kinds of this stuff. But I do want to establish right off the bat, guys. Congratulations to all the world champions. They put it out. They put it forward. I also want to totally commend the host parties and the committees. Without them putting in all the hard work, Worlds doesn't happen. And the cool thing with Worlds is that it actually does change from spot to spot. It's pretty cool. You guys are in Virginia in the Open Worlds this year. U.S. Masters will be in Raleigh. All these different cities are inviting, they're pulling all the stops to invite in the world's top talent to come and see what our culture.
Did we lose him, Silas? Oh, we might have lost him. All right, we'll see if Silas, we'll see if you can get him back on here. But the one thing I want to discuss, Yuli, is it feels like when things are going well, The PDGA loves to toot their own horn, loves to let you know how awesome they are and all the stuff they're doing. And then when things go poorly, they love to just shift that blame and be like, "Oh, well, that's not us. That's the volunteers. Oh, we might have him back here. We got him back, Silas? Nope, maybe not. I've seen this a lot with them in the past of where they love just shifting the blame to the volunteers, to the host, like the TD and all those people, and say like, well, we're not really a part of that. But then if there's anything that is like positive, they love saying like that was all us. And I'm thinking this is probably gonna be something similar.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track there. I think these big tournaments are run the best when they have good leaders, and those good leaders are usually on the ground and the local people who do it, right? Like, I don't know. I think Emporia's ran pretty good every single year as far as like the open there. For a long time, it was Doug Bajerkis who ran that, and great TD, awesome TD. But he made sure that a lot of things got done. I'm not sure, and this isn't to put blame on like anybody. It's just that a lot of times when I see tournaments that have little oversights like this, it's because that one person who takes charge and gets it all done isn't there. And so somebody's looking, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. And nobody's being like, okay, we need this done, you do this, you do this, you do this, which is super important. And especially big tournaments like this, where you have however many different divisions and people traveling, upwards of like 15, 20 miles to different courses, making sure that there's somebody there who is qualified to make sure that little things are done, like the water, and little things are being done, like, oh, what happens if like scoring goes bad? Do we have enough pencils? Like all those little details sometimes get thrown to the wayside when you don't have good leadership. That's where I would first look to, is be like, okay, well, who is in charge? Who is making sure that all of this stuff is done? One of the people who does a great job of that is Eric McCabe. He's playing in the event. So right away, he's like the big guy there in Emporia for making sure a lot of stuff is done, I feel like, with course design, different things, and making sure that we're playing the best courses possible when we come there each year. And then he's playing in the event. So then when you don't have that local person who's making sure that's all done, and you have a powerhouse like the PDGA coming in who might be like, okay, we're going to do it all of a sudden these tiny details kind of go to the wayside, I feel.
Yeah, that's is where, if the PDGA wants to be the big dog in disc golf and wants to put their stamp on everything, then they need to be doing a better job at these flagship events. Like, this wasn't some random C tier that's PDGA because you have ratings or whatever. Like, this is one of their flagship events, one of their world championship events. And, a lot of funds, I'm assuming, that we pay to be PDGA members gets flooded into these big flagship events. And, it wasn't just the water. There was someone else in the chat that said, let me see if I can find it.
Well, the first thing is like, who decided to have the world championships in Emporia this time of year? That's crazy, dude. With like, I get like it's a bidding, so people bid and then they get the tournament. I'm pretty sure that's how it happens.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we'll have it here. But with there's 80-year-olds playing out there in 90-degree weather. That's kind of crazy, dude.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're saying there was no toilets out there. Yeah,
well, nobody had to pee anyway.
Yeah.
So
everyone's dehydrated. You didn't have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I don't know. It's the PDGA. I just do not hold them very highly. To me, they always let me down. So I'm not surprised at all by the stories I hear from what the PDJ is doing. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things of like, when are we just not gonna like just stop giving these people your money, right? Like, oh, we might have lost you.
I don't know if that'll ever.
Are you back? Oh boy. I think the PDGA is hacking into our podcast. I think they're hacking into our podcast. I mean, he's got to hold him accountable, though.
Oh, for sure. That. Hi.
Oh.
I'm a little south of you.
Oh, no.
Oh, we got bad storms, I think.
Yeah.
We got some bad storms. Okay. Hopefully Ohn is somewhere in a good spot.
But yeah, like you'd have to have a big organization come in and do the same stuff, which has to grow. So it'd be like a tiny one coming in and trying to take over, and I don't think that's better. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a tough spot. Like, you're almost kind of pigeonholed. Yeah. You're almost kind of pigeonholed of what you can do. And I mean, if we want to play on the Pro Tour, you have to be a PDGA member. There's no way of going around it either. I just wish there was some way that we could hold them accountable for things like this, because I think stuff like this just gets swept under the rug, and we just, are all just trying to get brainwashed to forget like stuff like this happens, but it happens all the time. Yep. That's just. Yep.
All right, you got to talk fast. Go.
I know. I'm not sure what's going on.
All right, I think we're all good. All right, here we go.
So, well, sorry about that.
No, you're all good. No worries.
You were congratulating the winners when you left.
And I also wanted to then say thank you and acknowledge the phenomenal effort that all of the hosting groups put together to host the World Championship, or any time that the Pro Tour. We have so many people behind the scenes. There are just endless amounts of volunteers and folks even that get paid, but they don't get paid very much. We can't take that for granted. And you're going to notice I'm not going to beat up on them much. And there was missteps there as well. But there is one common denominator, and that's our organization. The organization has their name first and foremost on the World Championships and almost all of our majors. In fact, there really was a decision-making process that decided, you know what? Maybe the PDGA isn't in the game for running the national tour, the elite series. And the Pro Tour has done a fantastic job of actually taking that on, overcoming a tremendous amount of burden that it takes to have so many employees it takes to run the Pro Tour the correct way. The PDGA kind of like, all right, we're done with that. So now what are we doing? Well, we're organizing competition, we're sanctioning competition, and we own, with our own name, majors. So the PDGA needs to double, triple down, right now and save themselves by owning the events that they own. And, I'm sure you guys talked about some of this, water isn't the only issue here. Yeah. And I do want to iterate that Des was hydrated. So she was, people are saying, well, she didn't have enough water on the course herself. Well, sure, I suppose everybody could. Ellen Woodboom, who's a military background, she carries around an actual gallon of water. That's her training. They do rucks in situations that are life threatening in those situations. So, but it is absolutely on the event side to take care of the players. At the end of the day, you guys disagree or agree with me. This is what players want. We want to know what tees we're teeing from. We want to know what the distances are. A par is actually helpful. We want to know what the rules of each hole are. We want to know what the OB parameters are, what any special circumstances are. And then we want those holes trimmed and groomed the best it can be for not only competition, but for viewership and things like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's simple, right?
Yeah, it's not too much to ask, I don't think.
Right. So, we go back to things that we've done over and over again. The competition, when I tuned back in, I heard you guys saying like, well, there's no enforcement. And that really becomes the stick and carrot situation that is the $1 million question. Back when the competition committee was really, really clicking, and we had, Kevin McCoy, who was touring, and Avery Jenkins, who was touring, myself, we had some of the finest tournament directors in the land. And we put together a checklist, a standards, if you will, like if the tournaments would just do these things, everybody competing is actually going to be pretty darn happy. And they're the same things y'all are battling today. It's the tee pads, it's the consistency in the targets, it's the marking, it's how many days ahead of time are we saying that this is it, at a world championship when people are, Joe Revere spent 2 weeks in Emporia ahead of the week before the championship. So I guarantee you when he showed up, he was just throwing discs in a field for the most part. Sure, those courses are laid out on UDisc and stuff, but that's where I'm saying like, things like we actually, one group had a swinging target. Yuli, did you play in the 2005 World Championships in Pennsylvania?
No, I wasn't there. A little before my time.
So an incredible course in a state preserve, but it had a swinging target from a magnificent tree. And all of us are like, what? Really? Are we doing this? And they decided right last second, no, you guys are actually right. And we'll tether it to the ground and this will never happen again. You're right. Well, fast forward, I've heard that it happened, I think, in 2017. And now you can add 2024 to the list as well. I pulled in, my buddies gave me a ride back to the course, and the women were putting out. It was so windy. We were just watching this target just swinging in the wind. We were making bets like, well, what do you think? Is it going to be a missed putt or a missed target? And that's, again, seems elementary as well, things like that. But, we can talk about some other things. I would love to answer anything you guys have, but I want to make sure that I put this in here is that, I was asked to give some feedback, and the biggest thing, and this was even, so our new executive director, Doug Bierkes, one of the things that was amazing was he is actually on site from the beginning of Worlds to the end. So he was there and he was taking notes and he was checking things out. And he actually had a meeting specifically with Des and I, and it actually was, we were going to have a meeting anyway, so it wasn't really because of this. But I tell you what, Doug sat there and he listened. And he listened, and he did say there is going to be accountability, and he did say that things are under his watch are going to get better. And I believe him. I've got a lot of faith. I've known Doug for a long time, and I think I think things, hopefully, maybe this is a catalyst, although I can't tell you how many times I thought that we had a catalyst moment, out on tour or at a championship or something like that. But the PDGA needs to obviously be on site, boots on the ground 2 weeks ahead of Worlds, not coming in the week of and then putting on fire helmets and trying to get all the fires put out that maybe the local group couldn't quite handle or whatever it is, or painting the lines last second or changing, they put, the flooding, we got to give some credit to Mother Nature. They threw some curveballs on there. So I didn't want to try to talk about some of those because I think the host group did darn near the best they could given those circumstances of flooding out holes. Although, if I'm going to be critical of something with that, it's communication. You know, send out notifications more than you think that you should. Keep us in the loop. You know, just don't let us hang. You know, they're saying, you know, for the groups that played Peter Pan, that flood happened. The river actually rose up. The day before, it was Opie. You couldn't even drive into the course. It was so flooded. So they knew, like, okay, well, we might not even play this course, period. So that word kind of trickled out. But Peter Pan, the river rose the next day, and all of a sudden those 6 holes became unplayable, and they kicked into action, and they, you know, put in temp holes. However, the temp holes meant that they pulled out some crusty restaurant rubber tee pads and threw them on the ground, rippling, you know, horrible teeing surface. And then, thank goodness, they ended up putting tee off from the earth if you'd want to as well. So they did mitigate that. But where were these turf pads at? You know, shouldn't there be temporary turf pads in the PDGA trailer? Shouldn't there be 20 water jugs in the PDGA trailer waiting for events and things like that? So that's where I just think that, you know, I'm not saying we can do better. We have to do better. You know, you guys are just starting to do this for $10,000, $12,000 a pop. You know, when we were doing it at, man, I won $1,200 this weekend. Let's go. You know, there was maybe a little bit, well, you're really doing it for a living, you know. Well, yes, some of us absolutely were, and we were making it happen. And now that there's big money, and I'm saying you guys are on another level, but our age players are too. We're all members. We all are invested into this organization. And I think the MP 70s and the FA 65s are just as important as MPO and FPO. At the end of the day, they mean different things, but doggone it, those people work hard. If you look at the women's turnout, I didn't quite get the stat with put stat Mando on it. There were women's world champions represented at this Worlds of like 16 of the first 20 years of the PDGA's World Championships for FPO. So that's the legacy players. You know, do we really want to be treating, you know, our legends and our Hall of Famers that way, let alone our amateurs who now are maybe just finding the sport and they dumped in all their cash and this summer I'm going to qualify for next year's Worlds and it really means something to them. So I'll let you guys wrap a little bit on that.
Yeah, no, I think you make great points. And I think what the PDGA has is like a lot of people go to these events and they're assuming like this is a massive event. This is a big deal. And when you show up and certain things aren't there that are expected, I think it really does hurt the future of the sport for that person. Because they might just literally be like, well, this sucks. I paid all this money to come all the way out here, and this thing is run like a flag football tournament in my back, you know, my local park. Like I a lot of that, and we don't really, and that's one thing that's kind of missing a little bit, even on the Pro Tour side, is like the pageantry. You know, like a lot of Pro Tour events, and they're getting better, but a lot of Pro Tour events still, it feels like you're just walking into a local park. So there isn't this feeling of like, oh, this is special. And I'm not saying that needs to be happening on the amateur side of things, but there are certain things that I think, you know, one thing that I don't even really, you know, pay attention to as much as I should is bathrooms, because I have the ability to just go into the woods whenever I want. But when you start looking on some of these Disc Golf Pro Tour events that we've played at, and I know it's gotten a lot better, but in the last couple of years, like there was times where it's like, bro, if you're female, like, what are you doing? Like you just can't go to the bathroom for 9-10 holes. So there's a lot of things that need to be corrected. Yuli, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I just wanted to add again, like, I feel like my main point with this whole thing where I feel like it trickles down is from the top is leadership. And And it's funny that you brought up Doug Bajurkis, because I was giving him high praise before you came back on, saying when we were to go to play the GBO or the Glass Blown Open, or what is it now? It's the Dynamic Disc Open.
Yeah.
The Dynamic Disc Open, and he was running things. I felt like it was one of the smoothest tournaments ever. And then I see that Eric McCabe's playing the event, so he's a guy that gets a lot of things done. And when there's not good leadership going on, and this isn't a knock to whoever's running the tournament or whatever the staff, but when there's not one guy being like, okay, I know how to run tournaments. This is what we do. Make sure that this guy's doing this on this course. Make sure this guy's doing this on this course. Make sure that those waters are done. If not, we need to get somebody on that. All the good tournaments, for the most part, that I see have somebody like that who's doing it, right? And it's interesting that all the tournaments that are run by the PDGA, not all, some of them are really great, but we see little leaks. We see little leaks of things go kind of under the radar to where we're like, well, why didn't that get taken care of? And they're like, well, I thought he was going to do it. And whenever you get the pointing fingers thing, that's because there's nobody to look to and nobody like really setting the standards of, no, this is how we do it. This is the way that we do it. And we need to keep it doing it that way. And when I heard all these things happen, that's the first thing that I thought. I was like, well, Eric's not. And I bring up Eric just because I know he's a go-getter and he gets stuff done, right? And Doug, he's a go-getter. And it's funny that you said, like, right after, he's like, no, people are gonna catch some flack for this because under my watch this wouldn't have happened, and this isn't respectable. And I just feel like I just feel like that's like one of the main issues that I see when the PDGA comes to town is there's nobody that's just, all right, let's get this done, you know?
And there needs to be more people, right? So even if there is that person needs to have people that actually directly
100%.
answer to them, right? Because otherwise you go back to the volunteer hosting staff where, you know, that there isn't that stick and carrot that we were talking about, that enforcement situation, you know, like, oh, I got to go pick up my kids too. So maybe I'll get to that course tomorrow and figure out
Totally.
that, you know, and we understand that, but yeah, I think you're right. I think the sport is to the point where there needs to be a small army of competent folks that are coming in and representing and, you know, pounding down the PDGA feathered flags.
Yes.
are only the 20th step, you know. I mean, we want to address it, but boy, there's so many other concerns first.
And one of the things that I might be completely off with this is, why are we having a Worlds in Emporia this time of year when it's 90 degrees and flooding all the time and there's weather coming in, and we've known this forever? Like, I know it's a bidding process, but who goes, yep, you get it. You know, this is a great idea type thing. When you have 80-year-old playing in this tournament in 90 with 100 heat index, like, that seems a little crazy to me.
Yeah.
No, it's a great point, Yuli. In fact, that's kind of one of my other little marks on here was for a Masters age protected Worlds, every single division played a course that was totally not appropriate for their division. In my case, in the MP50s, I'm sorry, I love, you know, Champions Landing is gorgeous, but 50-year-old pro men shouldn't be playing 11,000 foot courses with OB and 410.
Well, they should at least
foot
change
carries.
the tee pads. They should at least change the tees for you guys.
100%. In fact, and you know, and you brought up Eric McCabe, so I did talk to him quite a bit this week, and he really was more in a you know, a player mode. You know, this is an earlier part of him. You know, again, PDGA, the dynamic discs is, you know, now part of House of Discs, so there's another whole machine working there. So it wasn't exactly the days of old, like Dynamic Disc was running this entire operation. So Eric came in and, you know, he saved Peter Pan with some changes there at the last second. And I know he did a lot of work ahead of time in capacities of trying to mark the courses correctly and things like that. But I don't think he had a huge a monstrous role like we think that he would in that case, in that scenario.
You can't when you're playing and you're trying to win a world championship, and I wouldn't expect him to. That's why I was like, well, he's not there, so that's part of the reason for me.
Yeah. All right. I mean, he came in. I'll give another course example. And here's another just to add on to what I was talking about. The FP40, the FP50, the MP60, and the MP65. So these folks played a final 9 of 5,384 feet, which was longer than the entire 18-hole course they played 3 times during the World Championship, and slightly under the other course that they played at 5,600 during the World Championships, 18 holes. So that in itself was like, I'm not sure who's making these decisions. We need somebody in the pre-planning situation as well to be well-versed in all the variances. It's so much more difficult than designing for FPO, MPO, where we really only have 2 skill sets that we're really trying to test them all, where, the age protected, you really do. I mean, otherwise, and I say this a lot, it's like the courses should fit the age group. Otherwise, we'll play open. We should play open. I mean, so if somebody's playing MP50 when they've got open skills, they're either got a nagging injury, they're hurt, their back is bothering them. I mean, there's a number of things. So we need to adjust that type of stuff too. That's something I'd really love to see get dialed in. We were doing pretty good for a few years in there, but we need players. That may be a form of a semi-retirement for some of the folks on tour currently, and that's being able to really assess proper courses for the skills at hand.
Absolutely.
One of the things too that I was thinking, just the last thing I'll put in on that subject is, I think it's to the point now when I see the divisions and I'm looking at how many people are playing all these divisions, which was incredible for the Masters Worlds, but at what point can you just be like, hey, they're all different tournaments, and we can put forward our most effort to the MP40, to the MP55, and they're all just different tournaments in different places, and these people can plan on going to their own thing and feel like I don't know, a little more special, instead of, I know a lot of people. It's funny because you talk to a lot of people who play the tournament and it's like, oh, I get to go see my family again. And I get to see old people that I've played with for a long time and everything. But I also think it would be kind of special to see those to where MP40, it's just, that's the tournament. And then maybe,
I think when it gets bigger, you could do that. I don't think it's at that level now. But like,
well, why not?
I just don't think it's that. I think what you were saying, I think a lot of people want to have like everyone come together.
Sure.
Is all I'm saying. But I could see like as some of the players that are on tour now, because the tour is way more popular now. Disc golf pros right now are way more popular than they were 20 years ago. I could see 10, 15 years from now when a lot of them retire from the pro tour and they want to go play something else, and that could work. But Jay, we do need to let you go, but before we let you go, we got to get at least one pet peeve out of you. Something that really, really gets under your skin, something you can't stand. It can be in tournaments. It can be outside of tournament play. Just something in disc golf that really gets you going.
All right. I've got a question for you guys too, but maybe you'll let me hit that real quick. Let's see, something that grinds me. I guess an easy one is people that putt out and then they disrespect the target by either passing the chains or tapping the top of it or whatever. To me, it's like your time is the 30 seconds before while your disc is in the air, when your disc comes to rest. Boom, that's on you. Now it's somebody else's turn. Get your stuff out of there. I'm about to putt on that same target, and you just riled it all up.
Who was the one that kicked it over?
Bradley. I think Bradley. I think Bradley hammer kicked that thing.
Yeah,
That might be the
incredible.
ultimate basket disc for sure. I think that one comes with the suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you said you had a question. We'll let you shoot a question our way real quick.
Okay, because you guys will chew on this because this is right down y'all's alley. All right, so this is hole number 9 at Champions Landing. You guys played it just at the DDO. This is it
Great
shoots
hole.
out of the tunnel down to the little space with the sidewalk. What is it, like 760 feet? Then it banks up to the right. It makes a horseshoe. It's blind. All right, you guys know it. So coming out of the gates, the way the Pro Tour played it is coming out of the gates. If you do not clear the cabbagery, you go to the drop zone, right? Speed of play, all these different things. But once you make it out of the gate there is an OB line on the right and there's a natural one left on the sidewalk. And you guys played it, take it where it last was in bounds. Well, for Worlds, they actually just put drop zone. And, here's where, it is absolutely on the player to know the rules of the course at the time. However, that was one of those ones where the tournament was really pretty fresh. We all kind of understood that hole. It really just makes sense the way you guys played it. The other way is just like, what? You're going to penalize, you're going to give somebody that really shanked it a benefit, and then you're going to give somebody that really risked it out a double penalty by taking them way back. And that's my opinion on it. But what I want to throw at you guys is the next time that round was played, multiple groups in multiple divisions discovered that hole was played incorrectly. The PDGA was notified immediately when one of the groups noticed that it was played wrong. And the theory was, hey, y'all probably need to put a bulletin out there and let everybody clue in to like, hey, you need to double check the rules of number 9, and then you need to ask yourself, did I play that hole correctly? So the PDGA did nothing. So I went back in competition. I'm like, wait a second. We had this at the USDGC where they had a hole like that. They put out a bulletin. The PDGA put out a bulletin, and then it was up to, and this is, I'm saying man up because this was MPO. If you did that, you need to turn yourself in and take your medicine. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a perfect way to do it. And 17 people came forward that year, and much respect. You weren't cheating. You just didn't get it right, and you paid the price, and you're moving on. Now, the PDGA decided not to do that. And so then it falls on the players to kind of like, run around and start asking people. And then it came to the point where we're like, are they going to do anything or not? It's the semifinals. There's some action. The PDGA is walking around and trying to find somebody, but, it's almost 2 minutes. I don't want to bother somebody when they're playing. And then now that's going to affect placing, and it's going to affect payout, and it's going to affect.
Oh, wow.
So how do we deal with that, guys? You guys could chew on that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the PDGA needs more pressure. With podcasts, with people on social media, with professionals, with everyone, they gotta hold them accountable. We're paying them. We're paying their salaries. We need to hold them accountable. And if they don't do better, well, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. But yeah. Jay, I appreciate you jumping on, man. This was fun. We'll have to have you come on another time. Because I think everyone really enjoyed listening to those stories and whatnot from you, and we appreciate you.
Let me leave it with the membership out here. Everybody that's watching.
Also, shout out some stuff that you're working on too. I know you guys do a lot for the game too, so let people know how they can support you guys.
I appreciate that. Just something for the listeners. I'm lucky. I've got a lot of good relationships, and people ask for my opinion, and I'm glad to give it and things like that. But we get made fun of quite a bit. Why? Because we don't vote. We want to talk about all the things that are going on in the background and things like that. But the membership that doesn't vote really has no say. If you vote, then you can say something. In fact, every event has a little link on there where you can leave feedback. The TD reads that. The PDGA reads that. Those are the two most important people that you can get feedback directly to if you do it in a succinct and respectable way. going and just blowing off and raw. We all do that in the parking lot, but if you want to make change, you got to vote. You got to be able to voice your opinion and do it the right way. Yeah. And I think we can get some things done, y'all. Yeah, man, I'm celebrating. This is my 25th year of touring and playing in 7 states or more. You guys, again, we're going to run some stats, but I can't find anybody that's been doing it longer than me. Although you do have a host, Brodie, that's probably next in line. He's been out there for a long time. So when I hang up my sneakers, I'm pretty sure you've been doing it every year too since then. For at least 7 states or more. That's what I'm considering touring.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So is there anything
on that accomplishment, honestly?
Is there anywhere people can support you? Support stuff that you guys
too.
Yes, out to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I apologize. We're old school. Des does have an Instagram now. I jump on Facebook and throw some things out there, man. We do love to hear from all the fans and stuff. Yeti Disc custom stuff can always be found at discnation.com. My sponsors that have been with me forever and ever. I've been Innova for over 20 years now. I will drop a little hint. Those of you that like the Sweet Yeti Fire Habanero Pineapple Hot Sauce, my sponsor, Big Country Beef Jerky. Just saying, I've got a test batch in this week. We're dialing it in. That's going to be awesome. Grip equipment, Zuka, birdie bag, and of course the educational disc golf experience. We're a 501c3. That means we're a nonprofit. All the money that comes in goes right back out. We've turned millions of kids on to disc golf and introduced them, and we are going to plant this year our 300th permanent course on a school campus.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Awesome. That's insane.
So you can send in PayPal on the website if you want to. We love what Jomez is doing. Those guys are, Yuli and Brodie, when you guys miss out on that star frame, people do notice. And the kids are counting on you.
It's not me. don't put that on me. It's not me this year. But we appreciate all you do. You're a big reason disc golf is where it's at right now. So, and we appreciate you taking the time to jump on tonight and talk to us.
Absolutely, guys.
Tell Des we said hi too.
Of course.
We will. Love the show. She's going out to hang out with 280 women at the Throw Pink Team Invitational out in North Carolina.
Ooh.
So that's another great organization. Sarah Nicholson doing great things for women's sports.
Fantastic. Love to hear it. All right. You all have a great night. Appreciate you jumping on.
Cheers.
All right. Take care. Oh, yeah. Did we get that, Silas?
Yeah,
I hope we got that. That was incredible. All right. One of the most electric players, not just in FPO, in disc golf, is joining us tonight. She's waiting. I'm sorry you had to wait, Ohn. But the queen is here. Ohn Scoggins, ladies and gentlemen, coming off of what was it? A 25 stroke win. I didn't even know that was. I thought that was a misprint, or I thought you somehow got to play more holes than everyone else. Ohn, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on tonight. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. We have a pretty bad weather out here, like tornado warning. So you guys can see it's like windy, and we have to keep the eye on until like 8 or 9 o'clock tonight.
I was gonna say, are you in the eye of the storm right now?
Well, I'm keep the eye on because if anything like looking not good, I'll be driving out. Like I'm just kind of keep the eye on him. Like,
okay, well,
what's
yeah.
going on here?
I was gonna say, you look like you're ready for a storm chaser tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you need to get out, by all means, definitely get out. We will reschedule this, but hopefully the storm misses you and everything is safe over there. I know that is kind of crazy. So first thing, Ohn,
I hope so too.
Just tell me, like how did it feel going into that tournament and just playing? I mean, did you play incredibly well? I'm assuming you did.
Just feeling like it's like another tournament. I have to do it and I have to get it done. And I think we play 5.5 rounds. And overall, I think my rating total was 996 per round, I think. I don't know. Maybe the course is good for me, and I make a lot of putt out there, except when it's like super windy and I kind of missing here and there. But overall, it just I make less mistake than a lot of people, I guess. Yeah.
A lot less mistakes for sure. How was that transition going from the Beaver State Fling, a tournament that, you know, we talked about, and we can maybe talk about a little bit more, but we talked about last week how it really looked like yours to win coming down the stretch. How was it to be able to, you know, quickly right the ship and go out and take care of business the next week? Was that, I mean, that has to be great to feel.
You know, at the Beaver State Fling, it just, it was very close one. It's very close one. And, you know, I make a mistake, unfortunate, because from the nervous and all kind of thing and poor decision. And, you know, go to 2-hole lap. And of course, I make a big mistake on hole 17. And on top of that, with Holly, just make a big putt. And she played great at the end of the day. So, you know, and of course I lost, but I'm still very happy with second place. Compared with, we almost have like 50 women out there, and I'm not young anymore, and I still like almost have a chance to win. As for me, it's just a blessing. And from that, and then go to Pro Master, it's just not big deal at all compared with that Beaver State Fling. It's just super competitor, and there's a lot of challenging. And then when we go to World Master, we only have 13, pretty much just like 5 of us, like me, Jane, and Stephanie, and Kari, you know, so 4 or 5 of us. And so for me, I'm kind of like more relaxing, and when you're relaxing, and then you play better, I believe. So
yeah. When did you start kind of this, you know, the final round of Beaver State Fling, you had multiple putts where you're almost like pumping yourself up before the putt even goes in. Where did that come from? Is that something that you just recently started? Because I don't remember you doing that in the past.
I think you guys just not seeing it. I always.
Well, I definitely don't watch FPO. That is for sure.
Yeah, I always just like pump up myself. I'm always talk to myself. I'm always like, come on, you can do it. Like, I'm always cheer myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always cheer people, but of course, on top of that, I love to cheer myself. Like, I like to talk to myself. I like to hype myself up, like from excitement. And when I make a big putt, I love to celebrate myself. Everything, when I throw good, when I make a big putt, I never be shy to be like, hold on, this putt, you know, just another putt, just another throw. Like, I've done this so many times. No, I always celebrate. I don't care like how many putts I make that day. When it's in, I love to celebrate no matter what. So,
well, I was talking about the ones specifically that, and maybe the mics are getting better on tour. I was talking about the ones that you were like saying in the middle of the air. Because I've seen you obviously get jacked up after you make a big putt. You were like literally being like, come on, Ohn, as the putt's like flying in the air, which is to me like kind of scary, because it's like if you miss that putt, you kind of look like an idiot. But you drained both of the two that you did. It was incredible. Got the crowd fired up. It was awesome.
You know what? When you practice putt a lot and you play so many tournaments, and it's some kind of that moment when you release out of your hand,
you just know.
Like you know it. You know, you see your line of the putting go, and on that moment, I know that's gonna be in, because of course I'm careful. Like if it's not in, I'm probably not gonna be pipe up, you know. But because I putting so many times, when I release it, the putting just go what I think it should be, and then that's why I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be in. So I already know on when I release. That's why I'm like, oh, let's celebrate. Come on, how can you not celebrate your long putt or good putt? I don't understand. Sometimes I see people like when they make the putt, they just okay, just make the putt,
Well,
I'm
what do
like,
you?
come
Yeah,
on,
what do you
just a
think
third
that?
putt.
Yeah, what do you think that is? Because, we saw you and Holland both show a lot of emotion coming down to that stretch. And to me, that's what made me want to watch every single second because it was so interesting. Do you think there are, FPO players out there that are nervous to put themselves out there? Like, I'm sure you hang out with them more behind the cameras and off camera. Like, are some people you feel like more reserved when they're playing than when they aren't playing? Like, are they scared to show their personality?
Some of them might, some of them just might like to hiding their feeling, to just like poker face, inside them, I'm pretty sure inside them they excitement, they happy, but outside they just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? But me and Holly on that moment, we just like to show our emotional. I think it's more fun that way. When you show your emotional, I think make the crowd excitement, make people watching like not boring. And also, I think it's healthy for you because you release your excitement out, you release your happiness, or even you sad. Even you said, I feel like don't be shy to be sad. Like I feel like we need to be true to ourselves. Like on that moment, um, when you're happy or you're sad, I feel like it's okay to show our emotional in this game. I think it's more fun to watch and more excitement. So me and Holland, we do exactly on that day. We just like pump up, we like, yeah, let's go, And I think the crowd love it. I think they love to see that. It's not just only I make the pot. It's just like, okay, it's just another day, Yeah, the crowd was just getting insane,
Yeah.
They love it. So.
Yeah, I think that's something that I try to put across to as many people that are willing to listen is if you want to be a professional disc golfer and make a living playing disc golf, the number one thing you have to remember is this is an entertainment sport. Like people are tuning in to be entertained. And if you just go out there and you just like robot the whole way, that's just not entertaining. People don't like to see that. And so I don't know. I just think, Yuli, you're kind of like in the middle, I would say. I wouldn't say you're like to the point of where Ohn is, but I also don't think you're a robot when you play. What are your thoughts on that? We might have Yuli's audio. Did we lose his audio?
I had myself on mute.
Oh, you're good.
I think for some people that it's a tough line to kind of walk on because, like for myself, I know that when I have that high energy, I lose a little something. So if I get super excited, then all of a sudden on the next one, maybe my focus is taken away. And so sometimes I try to walk like a nice line of, yeah, when I make a good putt, have a little fist pump, but don't get too excited because, it's business. Like one of the good representations of that is like Niklas Anttila when he made his putt to win his first pro tour.
Yes.
Like that guy's stoic. But in the moment when it's over, it's time to celebrate and have fun. And some athletes are different in those cases. When I'm practicing and I'm playing like a money round or something, or if I'm playing skins, you'll see that side of me come out a lot more to where I'm talking a little trash, I'm getting excited, I'm getting pumped up, and I'm able to kind of stay on that stream. But when the pressure gets on to me, I really have to focus on like keeping my nerves down a little bit. And I think a lot of people are like me in that sense.
Yeah, how do you keep your energy throughout an entire tournament, Ohn? How do you keep that? How do you keep that from round one all the way to the final round?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know. I let a person have a lot of energy, and it doesn't matter every day for me. It's just the same. It just you guys see me like even I play like Pro Tour Championship. Like I'm deal with $45,000 last year, but I just like kind of different because if I'm too serious for myself, if I play serious, like too serious, I lost my mind. I just could not play well. For me, it's just like it's too intense. So I like to have some moment. I take some focus, and then sometimes I like to be chit chat or. But the end of the day, I have so much energy to kill it. And some people just have a low energy, but me, I can kind of like keep going. Depend on who you are. You need to know yourself. Like I know myself very well, and if whatever is work for you, is work for you. So for me, I just like to be chill out when I'm playing. Yeah.
How does that work when you maybe have a card with like 3 low energy people that are stoic and like to stay to themselves, and you're not able to say like, hey,
energy, I don't know.
Like, is that where it's super helpful to have like your caddy with you and have someone that you can bounce off your energy with? Because you're not going to be able to chit chat with them, right? Like, what if they're like, Ohn, I don't want to talk to you this round, and you're not able to have that like fun vibe with your card mates. How do you handle that?
Well, here's the thing: if I don't have caddy, or if I play with the people who doesn't want to talk to me, fine, no problem. I can talk with the people, like follow us.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The crowd. I can always say hi, or can be like, hey, here and there. Like, I love to, no matter what, I love to entertain myself. Even at home, when I'm at home, I'm not going anywhere. I always find something to entertain myself. I never get boring, even I'm by myself. I feel like, or sometimes I just look at here, look at there, and pick up the flower, or who knows, maybe talk to myself, during the round, even no one want to talk to me. I'm like, whatever, I can talk to myself.
Yeah, I remember go ahead, sorry.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say, I remember during the Beaver State Fling, I can't remember exactly what hole it was. What hole? I can't remember what the number of the hole was, but I think you like double bogeyed it or something in the final round, and then you went. The next hole was the par 4. That's like the second shot, or I guess it's the par 5 for you guys, where you throw your third shot kind of over the street. You know what I'm talking? Do you kind of know what I'm talking about? There was a hole the final day where I think you double bogeyed or something.
It's hole 7.
Oh, it's a hole 4.
Yeah, I think it was.
4. I got 7. I got 7. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, I think hole 4, so I got 7 on that one.
Yeah, and then the next tee shot, you throw your tee shot, and you're walking down the fairway, and you like pluck a flower as you're walking down the fairway, and you start like playing with the flower. Like, I think a lot of people in that position, you would see them maybe just start faltering or going to be like, hey, it's not my day today. I'm not supposed to win this thing. See ya later. And you battled back. You battled back to get all those strokes. I think you lost like 3 or 4 strokes all in that one hole. And you battled yourself back to where you put yourself in contention to win. So like, if you could give advice out to some people listening right now, because we have almost 1,000 people listening. We have a lot of people that go out and play, tournaments, and they might have a bad hole, and they just let that bad hole ruin the rest of their round. What's something that what advice can you give those people to be like, hey, snap out of it?
Here's the thing. I feel like on whatever, when I make a big mistake on some hole, and I always thinking, if I make a mistake, people will make a mistake too. And that's why it's kind of like it's not a big deal for me, because I done the most I can, and if I make a mistake, it's fine, because I put a lot of work on it already, and I like to forgive myself. Even I make a big mistake on that time, I'm like, hey, I love myself so much, and I forgive myself to be move on and be still happy and have a hope. I feel like it is no way you can make a perfect game every time, or never be bogey or double bogey. It's no way. So that's why I feel like it's why not? Like when you work so hard and then if you make some mistake, why not you just how can you not forgive myself to move on to the next hole, because another hole you can birdie, and if you not win, it's fine. But if you win, it's great. I feel it's not a big deal. There's a lot of things we can go through life. This is just small thing in our life. I feel like we need to know that like disc golf or whatever we make mistake right now or today, it's not a big deal. It's a lot of thing waiting for us to like the big deal. Like in our life, we will go through a lot of tougher life. So that's why this is just small thing you can go through. That's why just move on. A lot of thing challenging waiting for you in the future. So that's how I think. That's why I'm like, move on.
Find a 4-leaf clover. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Found a flower and so I can blow, and then it's just like
yeah. Okay, I gotta ask this. Not just an FPO, in the entire Disc Golf Pro Tour, where are you putting yourself as far as circle 1, circle 2 putting?
the person. What is that?
What? Like yeah. What? Like So like putting. Where you?
Man and woman.
Yeah. Where are you ranking yourself?
Top 50%, I think.
Top 50?
Top 50% of man and woman. Yeah, Oh. I mean, here's the thing.
I'd put you high.
Here's the thing. Maybe for women, I might give myself maybe top 8 or top 9. But for the man,
I gotta stop you. Wait. Who? Wait. Stop. Who?
You're the best putter. You're the best putter in FPO. It's not even.
Yeah,
it's not.
No, guys. Right now we have a lot of girls who like working their ass off, and they're putting so good right now.
And that's
I'll give
great.
myself maybe top 8.
I love that there's people out there that are working hard. I appreciate that. All right. I gotta stop you. We got Edwin Stats saying, show her stats. So we're gonna pull this up. This is your what we call like our Madden rankings. This is based off of your statistics. The only one that is that's kind of user generated is the power, because there's no way of like having a statistics for that. Your scoring is 97. Your power is 80. Your accuracy is 90. Your scramble is 99, and your putting is 99. Oh, and that's the highest. There's no one higher than 99. And I don't think we've had an MPO player on the podcast that has a putting of 99 either. So when you say you're, I'll ask again. Out of MPO and FPO, out of everyone, where would you put yourself in putting?
Okay, all right then. Top 4. Okay, top 4 for women, and then maybe top 25 of the men. How about that?
Okay. I still think you're. I don't know who these
top
women are
30.
better you. I need to see who these people are that better you at putting. But
I mean, here's the thing. I watched some men play. They just could not match. They just make everything. It's I don't know, maybe they have a longer arm or I don't know, but when I watch them play, I say, wow, they just make like circle 2 like nothing. And I still could not do like that. Yeah, so that's why I was like, man, I have a lot of things to learn from them. Maybe our body is different too, but man, they make it look so easy. And for us women, yeah, I think I can give myself top 5. I think it's fair. Yeah.
I know this for fact. There is a lot of MPO players on the Pro Tour who would trade their putt with you.
Yes.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Just like this. Boom. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys. You guys are so nice. So.
Let's switch a little bit to like course design now. How do you feel course design is going for the FPO division? Do you like the direction it's headed?
To be honest, I feel like right now we kind of go to the golf ball a lot. Because I haven't played this golf for a long time. Most of the time we play in the Woody or some own tournament. I go back, or maybe some pro tour. I go back. So now they add golf ball on it, and it's not good for my game. But of course, I understand. If you wanna make this golf to be more high volume, whatever you call, for filming, whatever, and of course they need to add here and there. But I'm be honest, I'm kind of missing golf wood course. Because that's how I start to play. But I totally understand, and I'm working on it, and I try to play more golf ball, and but nothing I can do because this game is for a new generation, and I just something. It's just like for me is it's not my time anymore. It's for new generation, for them to show off, for them to some of them just throw so far. So the new one probably love course like that, but for me, I'm personal. I love wood course and not just only golf ball. So that's for me.
I got a question for that. Like you said, you've been playing a long time. Are you better now than you've ever been in your career? Do you think, like, when you think about your own game, is this the best Ohn that the world's ever seen?
To be honest, I feel like I play better than long times ago. I feel like my game still improve. My rating still up high. I feel like I still can approve my game. I feel like every year I can do something, or sometimes when I go back to the course I played last year, I feel like some of them I could not birdie, but this year I can birdie. Maybe I make a long putt, but for sure I still can improve my game, and I feel like I play better than last year. I feel like, but a lot of new girls that just play better too. So some of them still the same, but I can see a lot of them was improve the game, including myself too. I know I play better than last year.
Do you remember the first time I don't think you probably saw me, but just in case you did, do you remember the first time I got to watch you play? I'm curious.
What tournament is there?
It was back in 2020.
What tournament is there?
It was back in 2020. It was I don't remember the name of the tournament. You probably can help me with the tournament name. It's the one where it's like the very first disc golf course.
Oh, over
in California. Is it Oak Grove?
Oak Grove?
Oak Grove, yeah.
Oak Grove?
Yeah, I don't know. I was there. I don't know if you knew that, but I was watching you. I don't know who you were playing with, but I watched you on Wintertime Open. There it is. I watched you on a couple holes way back, and that was my first time I got to watch you play. Was all the way back in 2020. So it's cool now to get to have you on here and talk to you in front of everyone. It's kind of like a full circle moment. But I think your outlook too on how you just answered that question with the distance and everything. I think that's the right way of looking at it. I think we get a lot of people complaining about the courses we play or how the sport is going. And I just remember too, it was the albatross hole, Philo. I don't know what hole that was on Beaver State Fling, but the commentators are basically saying that you were playing that hole for par. Like you basically barely could get to the short grass. You had, I think, Ella and Holland throwing 100 feet past you. And they're like, oh, Ohn's just playing for par. And then you throw two more beautiful shots, make your putt and birdie it. Everyone birdies. And I think it really shows that you could easily play the victim role and be like, hey, these courses are set up to not favor me at all. And you're trying to adapt your game. You're trying to throw farther. You're trying to make play certain holes for par, maybe to get the other birdies there when they're out there. And I don't know. I like that a lot, that you're not playing like the victim of like, hey, these courses need to be shorter. I don't have a chance to win out here. You're proving that you can increase your skills elsewhere and still compete.
I feel like if you play smart, or if you know your game very well, like, and then adapt your game to the course, and then figure it out where you want to land, and also what's your next shot, whatever. I feel like you can play good a lot of course, like most of them. For me, so I have to do that a lot, like Portland Open, Beaver State, or Great Lake, or OTB. Those was like you need to throw like big arm or here and there. But I feel like sometimes if you play smart enough or accuracy, I think you can play good. I approve to a lot of people. You don't need to throw that far to have a chance to win. As long as you make your putt, and also like I like to be humble when I play disc golf. I don't like to be just like, oh, I come here, I'm gonna win. This is mine. I never think that way. I like to prepare myself to the high point and the low point. So I like to walk to the course, like, okay, let's see what I can do to this course. Let's see my game can choose can adapt to this course. And I don't like to cut anybody out, like, oh, it's only me gonna win. I like to count everybody. Oh, maybe this person can win. This person can win. Like, I like to look around, and of course I'm not count myself out. But I like to be humble when I play this golf, because when you're humble, if you make mistake, or if you lose or you win, it's you, the person, you're gonna feel the most. If you go like with the high like energy, like, oh God, I win, and then when you lose, you're gonna be the person is hurt the most. That's why I like to be in the middle. If I win, great. If I lose, it's okay. So the main thing is be humble, because the course will always gonna beat you up. The course gonna teach you how to play this golf. So.
By the way, our statistician, Edwin Stats, you just found out what your statistics would be for MPO. You would be top 22.
Oh, let's go.
So, like we said, there's only a handful of people in the whole world that have better putting stats than you do. So very, very impressive stuff.
I think I was like, what they call it was like top 25 or 30, right?
Well, initially you said 50%. And then you put yourself at like top 10 in FPO. So yeah.
Yep.
Where are we going from here, Ohn? Like, what's the 5-year plan? What are we looking at here?
Oh, you mean for this weekend?
No. For your career. Like, what do you have any plans of slowing down, or are you just like, hey, until I can't throw anymore, I'm going to be traveling around playing disc golf tournaments?
Okay, all right. I'm going to tell you guys right now.
Oh boy.
Look at this page. You guys are going to see me for a long time, because I'm still healthy, I'm still healthy. I turned 43. I'm still, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing gonna stop me from playing this golf, because I play the way it should be, and I love this golf. I'm not push myself too much, and because when you not put yourself too much in this golf, I feel like you're gonna love this golf for a long time. That's how I do right now. Like, just not beat myself up in the disc golf. Just have some fun time here and there, enjoy something else. That's why I feel like I can still play this golf for a long time. And as long as I'm healthy, as long as I keep practicing, I think I still gonna be up there. Or I have somebody show you guys know that I can still like play like 40, and I still probably gonna do great up there. So no matter what, you're tired of my face or not, you're gonna see me long term.
Well, I know everyone watching right now is excited with that answer, so that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. I gotta ask. This is something that we ask kind of all of our guests that come on here, and this might be the toughest question I ask all night. Pet peeves. So something that gets under your skin, something that bothers you, something that you're just like, I can't stand when this person does this. I don't like this. Some sort of pet peeve in disc golf. If you could somehow muster one up.
Being the people I don't like. What is it? The question is.
So like a pet. Yeah, go ahead, Yuli.
So like a pet peeve would be like when I miss like a 25-footer or something, and somebody goes, "Nice run," and I'm like, "Nice run? What do you mean? I just airballed it, like something like that." Yeah.
Or someone that's like on their someone that's like on their phone when it's their turn to throw on the tee, and they're like oblivious, and you're all just sitting around waiting for them, being like, "Yo, it's your turn, dude," and they're like, "Oh, sorry."
Or sometimes when I play disc golf, maybe that person don't know me very well or something. Sometimes I share them and say, good putt or whatever. But of course, it's a good putt. I'm not gonna say you missed a putt and they say good putt. Or sometimes but the kind just like annoy when I share them. I think they like to be quiet, or sometimes they just like what do you call too intense.
Okay.
Yeah. And those I cannot stand. Is like, wow, I just feel like this is your whole life at disc golf. When I look at them, wow, this is your whole life. You have to be this way. This makes me happy. Like, you look miserable, like this too serious, like bitchy. Yeah, bitchy. Okay, bitchy. Sorry,
that's definitely a word.
Too bitchy, just like almost like they wake up, they're all mad like this morning, and then they come play this golf, and they're so mad. Like, oh my god, like wow, this is your whole life gonna be like this.
Yeah.
I'm not too serious person, but that was a little bit bothered me. It's just like, man, but what's a lot of people go through different things. We don't know what they've been through. But for that moment, I was like, man, wow, this is a big deal for you, huh? Something like that.
I feel like Ohn could be like the perfect troll for some of these people that she plays against, being like, wow, this is like the biggest moment of your life. That's kind of sad. And they're just like,
like that.
They like feel that into their heart.
Just like, God, suddenly A tier or B tier, they act like this is the end of the world. Like, so like pissed off or something. Like, wow, I play like Pro Tour 3 years in a row. I end up with like two second place 2 years in a row, and then I still like smiling, and I still like give people like win big hug. I mean, come on, right? Like, I show you this is not a big moment of my life. This is just another thing I have to go through, and
I gotta ask though. Do you see that changing at all? Hypothetically, let's say all of a sudden everything was 100x. So you're no longer playing for $10,000. You're now playing for $1 million. Do you still see Ohn being the happy-go-lucky walking down the fairway playing for $1 million, or do we see a different side of Ohn if the money ever got to that point?
You know what? It's probably just gonna be who I am. I cannot change myself. Even I play for $1 million, because this is who I am. I have like this whole life, and I might be like more sad if I lost that $1 million. But like I said, it's not the end of my day. I feel like I have so thing I feel blessing to have in my life. I have a great relationship, great family. For me, that's more important. That's why it's make me so happy. I woke up, I was like, wow, I have a good life. I have a good life. I have a people. I'm surrounding with good people, and of course, my husband. He's like a worth more than 1 million. Like he's billion. Like that's why I'm so happy. And then no matter what, I play for 45,000 or 1 million. I know even I lost that, I'm still gonna be okay. Because I feel like when you're happy, whatever you do, it's not the end of the day. Because you're already happy inside here. I don't know. That's for me. So.
Yeah, great answer. Great answer. All right, Yuli, you got the final question.
Okay, so out of all the women that you play with on tour, whose game do you look at and you go, you're a little jealous? You're like, man, I wish I could do that. Or you're just in awe of something that they can accomplish on the course.
Hey, you know what? I always look up to Tata. She's perfect. She throw good. She putt good. She good looking, and I love her. She's just a working hard woman. And I look up. I'm like, wow. I want to be like that. I want to throw far. I want to have like such a good game, just like she has, because she's so successful. And on top of that, she's a good person. She's just good person, beautiful and good heart, and she's gonna be the person I always looking up to, and we a good friend. And when I feel sometimes when I lose the tournament, become a second shoe, they text me like, oh, it's okay, you next time it's gonna be yours. And I feel like that's the person I'm gonna looking for a long time.
Oh, that's nice.
That's great.
Great answer.
Yeah, and hopefully she comes back healthy and we can see some Ohn Kristen battles down the stretch. I know that's what we're all looking forward to. So
yeah,
well,
she's gonna come back strong. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad the storm. It looked like the storm isn't terrible, at least from the window. Hopefully it still stays away for you guys, and you guys are all safe, and you guys have a safe tournament leading up to it. Do you want to shout out any sponsors? We got a bunch of people that are big supporters, and maybe some new Ohn fans maybe in the chat tonight. Where can they support you? Where can they find you on social media? All those things.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you both. I always listen to you guys here and there. My husband is your big guy. You're a big fan. I always listen to you guys. And today he's already listened to it. I want to thank you guys. You guys do a great show. And if people out there not subscribe, come on, subscribe. What are you waiting for? You know what I'm saying? So please subscribe them. And of course, thank you, my sponsor, Innova, Grip, Suga, Ideal Shoes, and all kind of that, Salty Unicorn. And thank you all my fans out there. I feel a blast every time I go play a tournament. I always have a good fan, good people give me a lot of love. I just feel over the moon. So I want to thank you, and for love and support. So thanks so much from my heart.
That's awesome. Well, Ohn, thank you so much. You're always welcome back whenever you want. So you just let us know. We appreciate you, and we'll be watching you this week. Good luck.
And tell your husband
thank you so much.
I said hi.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'll tell him. He listened to it, so thanks, guys.
Appreciate you. All right, bye, Ohn. There's Ohn Scoggins coming off her 25-stroke win. Wow. That was awesome. Hey, we got our first shout out for people to subscribe too. Look at that. We're coming up, Yuli. We're coming up. Watch out.
What do you know? That's awesome. That was a great interview. She's so awesome, man.
We'll have to do one in person next time.
Yeah, if you're not an Ohn fan, I don't know what you're doing. That just So easy to root for. So easy to root for. And dude, she taught us stuff in that interview.
I love the like I don't think we need every single person on tour to like react and act like Ohn, but we need more people. Like I would love to see more people show their personality, and like the contrast is what I really want, right? Like I would love to see an Ohn go up against a Kristen, of where just one is going freaking out, pumping up the crowd, and the other one's just kind of doing the thanks and walking up. Like the contrast between those two, that to me is what's like really, really exciting. And then when you sometimes get someone like, because Holland normally isn't super out there with her emotions, but that battle between them two, like they're feeding off of each other, and I love seeing that too. So that was awesome. That was great. We'll have to, like I said, I appreciate you guys pushing through. I know the audio was a little tough. She's out in the middle of a field, getting ready for the preserve. So we'll have to do another one, maybe in person or whatnot. But all right, let's fly through a couple more of these stories here. So the Turku Open went down this past weekend. That was over in Finland. And you have Niklas and Anttila winning with a pretty impressive back nine comeback. Very impressive. Some of the putts he was making, you know, again, like the commentators basically saying like there's no shot of him making this, and then he made it. A couple very, very impressive putts there to come back and win that one. Proctor, it was good to see Proctor was out there back in competition. We haven't really seen his name playing recently, so it was nice to see him. And what are your thoughts on this 22-pound trophy? Big boy trophy here.
I like it, especially if you're in a bow hunting tournament and you get the big buck, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a nice trophy. It's professional. I like the trophy.
What was maybe someone in the chat might know. Do you know what the resemblance to I'm assuming that is a moose?
No, I don't.
Like crazy and thinking that's a moose?
Probably a reindeer.
That's a pretty beefy reindeer. It's a stag?
Maybe. A stag,
do we know?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we know that is not a moose?
It looks like,
okay. All right. Everyone calm down. Everyone calm down.
The moose have the horns like this.
Moose also have way longer legs. I agree. That's all me. I'll take one. Oh, someone said elk. Okay, it could be a stag or an elk. Do we know what it's a stag. Do we know what the reason is? Are there just a lot of stags in Finland? Maybe.
And
okay.
You're asking the wrong.
People are getting mad about the meese. All right, you guys just calm down. Silva, who is if we're talking about maybe the closest person to Ohn's putting ability, I have to probably give it to Silva. Silva is an absolutely disgusting putter. I think she has kind of the same limitations that Ohn does with the distance on some of these courses that I've seen them play. But man, her putting is top notch as well. And she ended up winning on the FPO side against a pretty good field on the FPO side. You know, you had Henna there, Evelina, had some pretty big names on the FPO side. NPO side, not so much. I believe there was one or two players inside the top 20 or top 25 in the field. And that poses a question that Trey brought up. Is the DGPT diluting the Elite Series wins stat by making the European events Elite Series as well? What are your thoughts on that? We'll get to that in a second here, Silas.
Yeah, I think it was for sure. Absolutely. The competition isn't there, but it's up to us to go over there, and we didn't. And it's a tour sketch. Something that this is something that where the Pro Tour is trying it out.
Yeah.
And they're getting more events over there to try to get. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to get.
I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know what they're trying to do.
Americans to go over there, or
for a week.
Here's the thing. Or if they're just supplying Europeans with a Pro Tour over there. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of players out there.
Yeah.
So and for them to travel over here, that's hard. That's really tough. You know, there's only a select few who come over because, of course, it's expensive. You have to be really crazy good.
Yeah.
The talent's in America right now, you know? So are they just supplying a platform for them to be seen on TV, which I love, and we can learn about new players and have other people kind of get that competition feel? I don't know. So is it diluting the win stats? I mean, who cares? At the end of the day, who really cares? That doesn't matter at all. I think the bigger question is,
it would be if they're yeah, go ahead.
How is the competition compared to here, and why are we having a gigantic tournament overseas with as many points as here? If maybe they expected a lot of us to go over there to chase points, which we should have. You know, if I said this before, I went to Copenhagen. I had some things that I could do with like clinics and stuff. I was after those points, man. I wanted to get points.
Sure.
And so it's an opportunity for you to do that. A couple people did in Proctor who really needed them. Oakley went over there. It's a good opportunity. It's expensive, but if you're on the Pro Tour here and you're, let's say, between like 60th and 100th, I think that's a great opportunity. Save your money, go over there, get the points you need to secure a card for next year, because those are tough to come by, and they're going to be tough to come by moving forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, you make a good point. I would say too, it's on the money side of things is tough. Like you're flying over there in this instance, you would fly over there for the week and then fly back.
Well, no, you would stay there and skip the preserve and then play Finland, or I mean, play the Swedish Pro Tour, which is next weekend.
What if you wanted to play the preserve? You just
you fly there, fly back, fly there, and then you're spending 15 grand.
That's what I'm saying. They're kind of making you make a decision of what you want to do, U.S. tournaments or European tournaments. And I don't know. I think it makes a lot more sense, and I don't know why. There's got to be a reason behind it. I think there needs to be something of where it's like, hey, for this month and a half, there's no tournaments happening in the United States, and they're all happening in Europe. And then that really makes the decision of like, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to Europe for a month and playing over there.
Yeah.
I don't know. The back and forth, we don't have private jets, and we're not flying. The funds just doesn't make sense for 75-80% of the people on tour. So I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. I know there was like a post I saw where they're like kind of making a stink of Niklas getting most of his points in Europe, and he's kind of like super high. Like Niklas is a top 10 player. Like I don't really care too much about that. Now where
he's already in third place in the points here. Like, what are you talking about? He's not getting most of his points over there. You lost it.
Where it does get kind of dicey though is like that 30 range on like people getting into the tour championship. There could be a situation where someone over in Europe places well at all these tournaments that don't have a lot of the top players. No. You don't think they have a chance? There's not enough points.
You can only get 3 European events to count towards your points.
Okay, so there you have it. So that basically squashes any argument of whether or not they should be getting full points, because they would still have to come to the United States to get and play a lot of events over here to get those points. So all right, well, there you have it. All right, moving on. We've got a no wild stories of the week, guys. If you have a wild story, if you're listening to the podcast and you have a story that's absolutely crazy that you want us to hear, that you want us to talk about right here on the podcast, send it into WildStoryTour@gmail.com. That is WildStoryTour@gmail.com. Our intern David will read them and will get us on here. Did you see the craziest ace at Maple Hill of all time?
Yes.
Well, second craziest, because I think KJ's slip ace. For those that didn't see this, this is Will Ferguson on, I believe this is, it's not the gold layout because that's not the tee pad from the gold layout. That's like the FPO tee pad, I believe.
Yeah.
But
We used
that
to
is,
play there.
is that hole 14, I think?
Yes.
Hole 14. And for those that are listening, you guys have to look this up. Will Ferguson is the name. Throws a forehand turnover. I believe this was with a crank. Forehand turnover over the water the whole time. At the very end, it flexes out. I mean, that's got to be a bucket list ace right there. That's insane. Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, that was nuts. Simon's over there playing every day. Not catching an ace like that one, buddy.
Ooh, shots fired. All right, maybe a little challenge for Simon. Can he get the turnover ace?
No. Do not go throw your shoulder out. Trying the sidearm.
Yeah, it's got to be with a glitch too, or it doesn't count. All right, we got some listener questions here to wrap us up here. So this one comes from Cody. What is the process for deciding what you want to do next year? I'd love to see you stick with disc golf, but curious what your process is for making big decisions that involve your career. I think this is directed towards me. So to answer that, Cody, I mean, a lot of that is just me and Kelsey talking in the off season. This year was kind of crazy for us because this offseason, it looked like she wasn't going to go back and cheer for the Raiders. Then some things kind of changed. Now she is going back and cheering for them. So this year is kind of a little bit crazy for us. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a lot of talking and discussing. I know at some point we are going to try to have our first child. And so at that point, that will obviously be a huge factor on how much I want to play. But I don't foresee myself stepping away from professional disc golf anytime soon. Does that mean I'm going to play every tournament next year? I don't know. But I definitely will continue to play next year. This is from Brian. I want to know how Yuli flies with his cart logistically.
I don't. So I fly with a bag and from stop to stop, and then Brad drives the car to our stop with my cart, and then I have one at my house.
There you have it. Shout out Brad.
But if I have to, I can take apart the Zuka cart, put the tires in the Zuka cart, and fly with it, no problem.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Question from Albert. Do the mega contracts like Simon, Macbeth, and Wysocki dry up now? The growth has slowed down from COVID. Do they get renewed?
No.
Well, Simon and Paul's aren't done for like another several years.
They're out.
Ricky's comes up soon though, right?
Maybe, but I'm not seeing Millie's being called out.
It would be tough. I'm
not seeing Millie's.
I think we
Kevin Jones just comes out next week. He's like, dude, just signed a 5-year, $5 million.
I think we really need to see a massive increase in viewership on tour. Yeah. And we haven't seen that. The numbers are great. Jomez numbers are great too. Like the post-production. I mean, some of these tournaments are getting close to 200,000 and some of them are getting over 200,000. So that's fantastic. But I think live needs to be higher.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know? All right. Pat Proc wants to know, I think it's time for a healthy debate on why FPO gets a higher percentage per player on added cash. When NPO is getting 30,000 more views than FPO, data taken from the Disc Golf Pro Tour YouTube views. So this is something that's been going on for a while. If you look at it, the FPO field they don't get more money overall, but they do get more money per player. I mean, yeah, I think at a certain point, I would love to see that be like equal, right? But right now, as it stands, you still have like the NPO winner taking down $10,000 and the FPO winner taking down like $7,000. I do think the numbers is a little bit different because the way that the Disc Golf Pro Tour currently stands, I think they do look at it more like tennis than they do look at it like golf, where golf is two separate tours, two separate events, tours, two separate productions. Disc Golf Pro Tour definitely tries to lump it in as a tennis where they are under the same umbrella and it's one
Same
event.
tournament.
So I could see there where it's like 50-50. But yeah, I don't know. I would say maybe when I first got into it, I would be more like, what the heck's going on here? But I do think the FPO brings a decent amount of viewership. And I mean, with players like Ohn, we just saw, I think Kristen is a huge name. I think Kristen is one of the top 3 players in disc golf, NPO or FPO. So to me, I do think they do bring in a lot. So
And Paige has been one of the most popular players for a long time.
Mm-hmm. So I don't hate it like I did initially when I was like, why the heck are they getting so much more money?
Well, I think that's the big thing is people look at it as, oh, well, they're a separate tournament. How can this be a fair thing? To where you're right, the Pro Tour runs it as one event. So it makes sense.
And really at the end of the day, let's just say that all of a sudden they got 70 random people to jump in an FPO tournament, because that's what this is all. He's basically saying on average per player. So if they just got 70 random people, that doesn't make the event any better. That would make their average per player the same as NPO, but the event doesn't get any better. So, you know, at the end of the day, really, like, NPO could eliminate 40 or 50 people from their fields and the event wouldn't get any worse. And then our pay per average player would actually be higher right now than FPO if everything stayed the same. So something to think about. All right, last question here comes from Ian. What can the Pro Tour do to further incentivize spectators on the course? Seems like spectating has decreased in the last couple of years, and after watching the US Open, probably the number one thing I'd like to see change on the Pro Tour would be bigger crowds for more excitement. So, Yuli, what are things that the Pro Tour can do to incentivize more people come out and watch live?
Well, when you think about it, they need to be entertained, like you said before.
Mm-hmm.
And watching disc golf for 4 hours is super fun, especially if you have somebody who you just absolutely love. But at the end of the day, that's a long watch. Like when I go to a traditional golf tournament, it gets sunny. What do I want to do? I want to go play one of the games, right? I want to go for a second, play a game, get a snack, get a drink, go find another group. On the way there, there's activities. There's lots of things for me to do. I don't think we have enough of that, right? I think personally, I think there should be a few different stations with big screens for people to be able to just, okay, I'm done watching this player, and maybe the spectating on those holes isn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
And then they could make like a little spot for them to go have a drink, grab a bite to eat, watch the big screen live, and then talk with their buddies or whatever. Maybe have a couple games on the side, have a more entertaining product for these people to buy into, to spend the money to come watch us.
Yeah, I think too, it really at the end of the day is all about how much they're asking in price, like ticket price, and what you're expected or what you're getting for your ticket price. So I just looked up the Travelers Championship, which is the next tournament coming up here for golf, and that is in Connecticut. And you can get tickets on Thursday or Friday under $100. And that gives you pretty much access to the entire course. That gives you access to all the vending. Now, obviously, you're not going to get access into some of the suites and stuff like that. But if I'm going on here and I'm looking for tickets, which I don't even know how to find that on the website. Where do I find that? Size, do you know?
Yeah, it should be at the bottom, like on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
All right, I found it.
Should say buy tickets.
Tickets. Okay. So hey, Preserve, not that bad. $10. However, the highest is 160, which What the heck are you getting? Oh, here we go. Okay, so perfect. This is perfect. Cheapest. Oh, that's practice. Oh, wow. Okay.
It's so Friday's
Friday's 35.
Yeah.
Plus
and then
everything. Okay.
Saturday
so,
and Sunday are 45. And then the 3-day is 110.
Okay. So that to me is where it's tough. $35. You have disc golf for $35, or you can go to a golf tournament for $95. And I think there was 85 at one.
Yeah, but parking's going to be nuts.
I'm just saying, like, the difference right now in what a golf tournament provides for $85 compared to what a disc golf tournament provides for $35, I think is drastic. And to me, it's like, are we at that level, or are we at like a $10 level? We might be at a $10 level. What would you compare disc golf tournament right now? And maybe in the chat, let me know too. What event, like what sporting event would you compare disc golf with another sporting event as far as like what the value is?
I don't know.
See, I'm going AAA baseball. That's what I feel. And I feel like AAA baseball, $20. You can get to a AAA baseball game for $20. You're going to have a nice, like, someone said $20 is a fair total price.
You can't compare that though. That's
Why
not
not?
a fair comparison. Well,
Wait, why
because
not?
you're not watching the best players in the world. You're not.
No, I'm not talking about the players. I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about like what you get in the
that's what I'm saying. What you get is you get to watch the best players on the planet. You get to watch the people that you watch on Jomez. You get to experience that. That's the biggest experience you're paying for, obviously.
Sure. I mean, that's what going
to a AAA baseball game, you're not experiencing that.
Well, I don't think that is the reason most people go to a AAA baseball game. They go because it's like a fun activity to do.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's a fair comparison.
I was just trying to compare it.
At what sporting event can you go watch the best in the world for what price? That's the comparison we got to make. I feel like that would be the fair comparison. Maybe pickleball?
Well, what's bowling? Someone threw out bowling. How much does it cost to go to a bowling event? That would be a good one. Watching professional lacrosse is like disc golf in terms of watching the top talent for a $20 ticket, but there isn't much else. Maybe you get lucky and a t-shirt cannon comes out. Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need, a couple cannons.
Yeah. If I want to take my wife and kids, I'm suddenly paying for multiple tickets, group pricing, or buy one, get one. Things like, ooh, I like that. Like kids free. That should be almost a no-brainer. Absolutely. Right? Like that makes that seems like a no-brainer.
I would say 16 and under, but that's like half our tour. No, I'm just kidding.
So I looked up a pickleball ticket, and the Sunday ticket for just a normal ticket is $25 on like the pickleball like pro tour.
Yeah. And they're doing the same stuff as us. They have like their live cam for YouTube or whatever.
Sure.
And
yeah, I don't know. I do think just sometimes the price does scare some people away.
For sure.
David Craig says, am I the only one who goes and doesn't care about the amenities? I go to a tournament, I'm there for 12 hours and very happy just watching disc golf. I don't think you're the only one. I don't think you're the only one, but if that's what we were catering to, then we would be missing out on those people that go to a AAA baseball game. Like no one's going to a AAA baseball game because they want to watch the best baseball players in the world. They go for all the other stuff, and it's a great thing to do. It's a great activity to do on a Saturday afternoon. So that's what I'm just saying is like not having drinks or food, which I think they're doing a better job of this year than they have in the past. Like that's a big one. You don't want people to have to leave to go get food and drinks. They might not come back.
Or bring your own in.
So there's a lot of things, but the price point sometimes I think does scare us away a little bit. Like I would much rather, instead of them being like, hey, we can get, and this is how I view it too. There's got to be some sort of graph, Yuli, right? Of like profit, of where let's say you charge $100, you only get 10 people to pay, so you make $1,000. But what if you charged $1 and you got 10,000 people to show up? You made way more money. So there's got to be some sort of number of where more people would show up and you'd actually make more money. And then it'd be a better event for more people.
Comparison's going to be is I think the European Open this year is actually charging for spectators.
Ooh, what
it's
are they
been
charging?
free in the past. I don't know, but it's been free in the past, and then now you have to pay. So I wonder if those numbers are going to go down to where we're not going to see all these spectators, or is it going to be affected?
See, I'm almost on the side, and maybe it's a little bit different in Europe, but I'm almost on the side too of like, I do like that they're charging, because when you charge and pay for something, you have like a little bit more of a, oh, I'm going to something, versus just like I'm showing up at a park for free. So, but like, I don't know. I would love to see them just like charge $5 and see, do they get the same amount of people to show up for $5? That would be awesome. So we'll see. All right. What else do we got here? Winner, I think, for Edwin's stats. Again, if you guys don't know, at the beginning of every show, jump in the chat. Our statistician, Edwin Stats, throws a question out before every show. The winner gets a Frisbee. So make sure you jump into that. And you obviously do have to be a member of the Tour Life crew. So we appreciate, shout out to all of our members in the Tour Life crew. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, Pee-wee took it down, right? Oh, Flor Mario, love Tour Life. Let's go. Member, just joined for 1 month. Heck yeah. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. What's our merch updates at? What are we looking at here, Silas? I know we were pushing for, I think it was 500, right?
Yeah, 500. So stinking close. We're at 491. We're 9 away. So close.
9 left.
Yeah.
So head on over to foundationdisc.com, guys. Pick up a hat, pick up a shirt, pick up a chalk bag, pick up a sticker, pick up a patch.
I noticed we still have some discs in. So I think we have Raptors, Buzzes, and Zones.
Ooh.
So with the Tour Life stamp.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Get yourself a Tour Life disc as well. Yuli, you got anything else for the people? Good. All right. Well, tonight was awesome. Shout out to both our guests, Jay Redding and Ohn Scoggins, for jumping on here. Brian H., member for 14 months. Says, great episode. Brian, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you guys. If you're listening on Apple, if you're listening on Spotify, we appreciate. Thank you for all the kind reviews. We really do appreciate that. And great show. Appreciate you guys. Yuli, good luck this week. Tear it up out there.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week.